Chair. Chairperson.
Yes, Honorable Mogwase.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I have a load shedding. I thought the meeting started and then I didn't hear anything. But
It's 1 minute to 9, Honorable Mogwase.
Okay, my dear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, members, everyone on the platform. Committee Secretary, can we check whether we have a quorum?
Recording in progress.
Chairperson and everyone on the platform. Chair, we correct. Shall I proceed with the roll call?
Yes, please proceed.
Dr. Ntwane.
Good morning, Chair and members.
Morning.
Mr. Mbiani.
Chairperson, good morning. Good morning, colleagues. I'm present. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Mr. Malamatia.
Morning, Chair. Morning, everybody. I'm present.
Morning.
Mr. Fring.
Morning, Chair. Morning, colleagues.
Morning.
Ms. Mogwase.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning, everyone. I'm present.
Good morning.
Mr. Bergman.
Morning, Chair. Morning, everyone. I'm present.
Good morning.
Mr. Monakedi.
Morning, Chair, and morning, everyone. I'm present. Thank you.
Good morning.
Chair, Mr. McPherson is on the platform. He's available.
Morning, Mr. McPherson.
Mr. Mulder.
Okay.
Goedemorgen, voorzitter. Goedemorgen allemaal.
Goedemorgen.
Chair, that's all members currently on the platform, Chair.
I'm also on the platform, Chair.
Oh, I didn't see. My apologies, Ms. Konyana.
It's okay.
Then we have full house,
Good
Chair.
morning, Honorable Mklonyana.
Good morning, Chair.
Who else, Andre?
We have a full house, Chair.
That's good. Thank you very much. Can we have the agenda? So if we have a full house, we don't have apologies. Can we have movers and seconders for the adoption of the agenda as tabled?
Ms. Mogwase, Chair.
Honorable Mogwase.
Thank you, Chair. I move for adoption of the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Can we have a seconder for that move?
Mr. Mbiani.
Honorable Mbiani.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. So our agenda is duly adopted. Firstly, we will receive a briefing from the Northwest Development Agency on the development and plans for the Babelegi, Mogwase, Bodirelo, and Garankuwa industrial parks. The purpose of the above-mentioned meeting is to engage the Northwest Development Corporation on the following matters. Firstly, the current state of development of the industrial parks. Next, the investors currently operating in the parks and the investment pipeline. then the jobs created and retained, as well as the feeder areas for employment opportunities, then the management of the management model of these parks, also the coordination between national, provincial, and local government to ensure the development and the sustainability of these parks, challenges and opportunities in developing these parks, future plans or initiatives to expand and attract investors, and lastly, any special concessions offered to the investors in this park. Then we will also formally consider the study visit report to South Korea, and then lastly, we will look at the first draft of the fourth quarter DTIC financial and non-financial performance. On the platform, we should have leading the Northwest, the Development Corporation. We'll first have the MEC of Economic Development, Environment and Tourism, Ms. Klapi. Then from the department, we have Yunus Hussain, who's the acting DG. As is our practice, we'll give to the DTIC to make any introductory remarks they think necessary. Mr. Hussain.
Good morning, Chairperson and the honorable members. My name is Maoto Molofane. Yunus Hussain could not join us due to other commitments. I'll be joined in here by Mr. Lionel October, Tamit Lassen, who's also responsible for the industrial park. We also have our CFO, Irene Ramafola. We also have Wongiwe, who's responsible for strategy. So, Chair, I think with that, I'll hand over to you. We are working with the Northwest Development Corporation and Northwest Provincial Government. One of the industrial parks, which is Bodirelo, is one of those industrial parks that we planning to designate as a special economic zone. But I think we'll get a full briefing as the MEC and the team present. Thank you very much.
Thank you. MEC Klape.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to honorable members and all the officials in the meeting. My name is Virginia Tsotsotlapi, the MEC for Economic Development in the Northwest. With me today, Chair, I'm with the acting HOD of the Department of Economic Development. I'm also with the acting CEO of the NWDC. We also have the chairperson of the board, and Tate Kopanokunupi. I don't see on my list, Chair. I will request that if I skip anyone from my side, they must also indicate in the meeting. We also have Tate Mutlutlegi Mukoni, the director in my office. Acting CEO, if you can indicate who is here also. I don't know whether the CFO is here or not. If you can indicate to the portfolio committee.
Acting CEO, Mr. Mofokwane. Otherwise, we can proceed. We will see the presentation.
Good morning, Chair. I'm here, Chair. Good morning.
Good morning. Can we check who's leading the presentation? Is it the acting CEO?
Thank you, Chair. I will request that the acting CEO can lead the presentation, but if you allow me, I can indicate, Chair, Honorable Chair and honorable members, that the Northwest Province, situated around the rural villages, we all know that our province is so rural, Honorable Chair and honorable members. And this province is one of the rural provinces of South Africa that has 4.2 million, which makes 7.2% of the population of South Africa. And Chair and honorable members, this province is quite rural with only 6 towns, like I indicated. We do have Rustenburg, Madibeng, popularly known as Brits, those who know Brits, Mahikeng, Tlokwe, Matlosana, and Vryburg. And the province has only 2 airports, of which only one has international license. The Northwest Province is the home of about 397 active mines, which includes quarries and small diamonds operations. Yet the level of this province of unemployment remains high and the economy is growing at a very slow pace, Honorable Chairperson. The slow economic growth and high rate of unemployment in this province calls for accelerated approach towards industrialization of this province. Currently, Chair, there are 3 sites identified which the province is receiving support from the DTIC, which are Bodirelo in Mogwase, Garankuwa, and Babelegi industrial parks. The province, Chair, appreciates the support by the funding to revitalize these parks through DBSA as an implementing agent of the province. And to date, a lot of progress has been registered and the investment pipeline for SCZ is promising. We are hoping that we will get there when we engage with our investors very soon as the province. So, Chair, the revitalization, if I conclude, was implemented in phases. So far, only phase 1 and 2 were implemented, with a very little sustainability of these projects. The fence was stolen at Garankuwa Industrial Park and at Bodirelo, respectively. Phase 2 of these 4 properties were refurbished and projects were not completed due to ESCOM challenges. And to date, Honorable Chair and honorable members, the electrification of these buildings are still pending. And the success of the project compromised by the vandalism of our own people. And Garankuwa is our biggest challenge due to the location that Garankuwa is in. It's just around the rural areas there, and our people are staying around that industrial park. Honorable Chair, the Bodirelo in Mogwase is coming okay. I must indicate we are still working because it is in Bojanala. We are also going to engage with mining houses to can assist in this regard. So, Honorable Chair, I will then request the acting CEO to make the presentation to honorable members. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC. Mr. Mufokwane.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. Thank you, MEC. Protocol observed for everyone and honorable members. I'm going to be making a presentation as requested by the Portfolio Committee and the MEC on the revitalization of the industrial parks in the Bojanala area in the Northwest, being Babelegi, Bodirelo, and Garankuwa. I think the MEC has given a background and an introduction. I'm just going to shoot straight to the presentation. And then in our presentation, we'll have the background on NWDC, the DTI and Northwest Industrial Parks, the status of the infrastructure, the investment pipeline, the jobs created and retained, the management model, coordination between all levels of government, opportunities and challenges, the plans, and any special concessions offered to investors. And also in the presentation, will include the progress made on the Bojanala SEZ. In terms of that, we are establishing in terms of the NWDC Act, which is our duty, is to plan, to finance, to coordinate, to promote, to carry out economic development in the province and its people in the field of industry, of commerce, finance, mining, and other businesses, resulting in wealth and job creation. We are further governed by the Public Finance Management Act, and we are listed as a 3D provincial business enterprise. And we are accountable to the shareholder, which is the MEC, and also the provincial legislature, and subsequently to the Northwest Provincial Government as the main shareholder. And in terms of the DTIC and Northwest Provincial Parks, trade and industry through its special economic zones, economic transformation division, conducted a scoping exercise for the industrial parks located in all industrial parks, townships culminating into a structured program and aimed at revitalizing industrial parks. The Northwest Province was among the identified provinces in 3 parks that were identified and prioritized, namely Babelegi, Bodirelo, and Garankuwa industrial parks. And this was the identification, was in the needs analysis of each park and was conducted. In terms of that, the DTIC and the Northwest Development Corporation, we entered into an agreement with DPSA that it will manage and implement the infrastructure development program for all the identified industrial parks. The project was fully funded by the DTIC and managed by DPSA. The identification and needs analysis of each park was conducted. Upon completion of the exercise, it was discovered that most of the needs of all 3 parks were common, e.g. your perimeter fencing, to secure the NWT asset, complete refurbishment of those properties, and etc. The objective of the program to revitalize the industrial parks was to assist in boosting the economy, particularly in lagging areas like rural provinces, as the MEC has indicated, to attract new investment and retain existing ones, to support job creation in different sectors within the industrial parks, to enhance industrial parks images and security to infrastructures, to remove challenges in relation to infrastructure and market access, to develop sustainable clusters. The phases to revitalize Babelegi. So I'm going to deal with the Babelegi revitalization in terms of phase 1. Like the MEC has indicated that we are dealing with this thing, the revitalization was done in phases, which was involving the clearview fencing, the boom gates, the guard houses, the main gate, the pedestrian gates, and the refurbishment of the control rooms. In terms of Babelegi, new investment after the security upgrade of phase 1, we had around 10 investments after the first phase 1 was done, which involved your construction skill center, your recycling, your tire recycling, your manufacture of plastic and posts, your precious metals, your warehousing, your agricultural bags, and also manufacture of woven bags, and also the net drive manufacturers. So those investments were ranging from 2017 up until 2019. And then you also have those investment amounts there and the number of jobs created by those investments in phase after the upgrade of security in terms of phase 1, and the company and the client in terms of the companies that are there. And then in terms of phase 2 of Babelegi, the main focus in terms of 1095, which was consisting of 4 factories measuring 12,000 square meters. The scope included the complete fittings of light, plumbing, painting, roof and replace roofing, glazing, carpentry, and tiling. So those are the pictures in terms of Babelegi industrial revitalization of phase 1. You can see the clearview fencing on the top left and other factories. And those are the pictures that I think we'll share with the members so that they are able to look at the pictures in details. And then in terms of Babelegi industrial during phase 2 revitalization, we got Sinocreg, which is a foreign company which employed around 150 employees with an investment of 30 million, which is your polypropylene bags. That was in terms of the number 39. And then in terms of phase 2, Babelegi, your potential investors, you include your coffee manufacturers, electrical motor service and training, your agricultural equipment, your textile, your warehouse and distribution, your agricultural bags and door and window manufacturers. And the value of the investment, as you can see, there's going to be 20.8 million. And then you have also the number of employees that are employed, which is going to be that was in 2022 in terms of the potential investors after phase 2 revitalization. And in terms of Babelegi type of investors, like I've already indicated, you have those recycling or still recycling manufacturers, the wooden furniture manufacturers, the light manufacturers, the agricultural bags, equipment, ceramic tile manufacturers, the bags manufacturers, the food processing, automotive, textile, steel, wool, aluminium and windows, aluminium garden furniture, the coffee, the medical supplies, warehouse and distribution and skills development training. In terms of Babelegi investment on pipeline, we have the Korean technology company, which is solar manufacturing with a value of investment of 5 million, and also the number of employees are going to be 150. We've got South Growth which is in the medical manufacturers in terms of medical cannabis. And then also Strive Mine, the paper recycling, and Apophilix, which is your qualified manufacturing backs in terms of the value and the number of employees that are going to be there on the investment pipeline. And then what we are dealing here now is Babelegi industrial feeder area, which is feeder area like your Morelete, your Temba, Kudube, Leboneng, Ramodze, Majaneng, Sirman, Pankop, Marokolong, Portion 9, Dilope, Soshanguve, Maubani, and Stenvater. So in terms of Babelegi industrial park challenges, the CCTV cameras on phase 1 had to be excluded on the scope that was already approved based on the budgetary constraints, which were affected by geotech report that was not done on time to advise on the type of soil and the river was encroaching towards some properties. That resulted in the demolition of part of the structure on stand 112 Babelegi. The phase 2 project was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, acquiring of material, particularly steel, theft of equipment, poor workmanship, local subcontractors by local subcontractors, and electrical infrastructure availability. The refurbished properties, the 95 and Factory 124, is currently without electricity supply, and this project is incomplete. Numerous meetings were held between DTIC, DPIC, and WDC to establish as to how best can the matter be resolved. An agreement was reached to opt for energy supply, and it was unfortunate that during our last meeting with DPSA indicated that there was a request to close the project and make new application for renewable energy, which was estimated at 5 million. The rate of the Clearview fence theft is increasing on a daily basis, even though there are measures taken by the NWDs to minimize vandalism within the park. I can tell you, Chair and members, that honorable members, that we try to do some means and ensure that we secure the park as much as we can. The vandalism that happened in 2021, September, that raises eyebrows everywhere. We try to keep that by ensuring that we employ and deploy security in the industrial park. The syndicate on transformers, electrical cables, roofing, fencing has negatively affected and hindered the achievement of the cooperation in assuring that the properties are fully let. The corporation has no option but to enter into negotiation with tenant to conduct on refurbishment, which also affect the image of the entity and cash generation. What does that mean? It means that we enter into an agreement with a potential tenant to do their own refurbishment, and we offset that when they have to pay their rent. High deposit on electrical and connection fees is a challenge. Moreover, tenants are no longer allowed by ESCOM to connect directly with them. The decision has been adverse financial to the corporation. And there's also general non-maintenance of properties, which is ranging from a long time. It's not an issue of the last 5 years or so. It has been there in the last 10. The properties were not necessarily maintained, and that malice was continued. But we are trying by all means as it stands that we try to maintain the properties. The non-function of high-mast lights is also posing a serious challenge as it gets dark, and then the thieves are investing in the stealing of those lights and other things. Those are some of the Clearview fencing that you see that was stolen that we try to recover through our own concorded effort of employing those security companies that are capable in doing their job. So those pictures as you see, the guardhouse and the Clearview and the recovery of the Clearview fencing that we recovered after it was stolen, Chair. And that is in terms of the challenge that you see there, top left, the electrical cable that were stolen and all those kind of things and stuff like that. And then in terms of Bodirelo industrial, there was a phase 1. The first phase to Bodirelo was refurbished for 4 factories as follows: complete refurbishment of 1043, factory 7A, 7B, and 8, electrical upgrade, installation and overhead crane installation in stand 8, MCC installation, crane overhead crane installation in 262 and factory number 9. Those are the pictures in terms of Bodirelo industrial phase 1 revitalization. And then what you have there in terms of, we have the Liama industry, which is manufacturing of electronics at the value of 5 million and employees of 5 people. And then you also have Usielo Foka mining, and then 600,000, which is your mining engineering in those factories of Bodirelo. And in terms of the second phase to revitalize, we was mainly focused on securing the park. And the scope included the installation of the following. It's not much of the difference between the one of Bodirelo and also Babelegi, because it's Clearview fence, different kilometer, the guardhouse, the main gate, the pedestrian, the complete feeding, including the high mast lights, the installation of electrical substations and CCTV systems. And then those are, you see there is after the revitalization of phase 2, this is what we did in terms of the substation is there, the Clearview, the roads are clear, and then also the affected that I've spoken about earlier. And then in terms of phase 2 after the revitalization, you have your mining engineering companies, you have your LEMA, which is your technology development, those are conducted training. And then you have laboratory services, you have packaging, which is Golden Era, and then you have new production, which is Golden Era, and the value of each and every investment and the employees that they are. You see Golden Era has got 300, it's got 330, Sakos has got 10, LEMA has got 37 in terms of the value there. Because they're manufacturing your laptops, your tablets and stuff like that. And then you have big engineering, which is a mining engineering. They manufacture your equipment for the mining companies in the province. And then in terms of your certificate that were so but never installed, which installed due to high risk of plug-in vandalism. The guardhouse was also vandalized. The Clearview has been stolen, particularly the far end of the Central Park where the rest was visible and maintained. So the challenges that you see in Bodirelo are not much of the different, the one that you see in Babelegi. And that is what we are. You can see that top left picture. It's where it's supposed to have been your clear fence. I mean, your Clearview fence, which was stolen. And in the middle is what was remaining of it. And also the guardhouse that the High Master I was speaking about. And in terms of type of investment that you have in Bodirelo, you have the warehousing and distribution, mining engineering, skills development in the form of LEMA, packaging products like your Golden Era, within manufacturer, textile and motor mechanic. And then the Bodirelo pipeline that you have currently, it's Simtech, it's sorry, Chair. It's under resources, Shosholoza cement, it's lysine caustics, Mputu farming, and it's lithium batteries. And the funding for lithium batteries, which is the manufacturer of those lithium batteries, the funding from IDC, and then Mputu farming funding is a privately funded. And then the one for lithium caustic is 130 million, which is IDC funding. And then the Shosholoza cement, which is your cement manufacturing, which is ID funding, is 400 million, and also Sianda Resources and others. So the other one, you find that they are ready, but to conclude on the issue of land, because these are most of them, you find that they are going to be housed in the SEZ once it is designated, Chair. And then those are the feeder areas in terms of Bodirelo. You have Mogwase, Monaka, Moses Kotane areas, Kanana, Leidach, and North Amanda, Limpopo province. And then in terms of Garankuwa Industrial Revitalization Phase 1, which was focusing mainly on perimeter fence to ensure care. It was CCTV cameras, which was complete control room, guard houses with fittings, boom gate and pedestrian, and again installation of Clearview electrical and high mass refurbishment. So that's what you have there in terms of phase 1. And those are the investment after revitalization of phase 1, furniture manufacturing, toilet paper, motor mechanics, IBRG manufacturing. And it's between 2020 and 2021, there are employees there, and in terms of the investment value there. And then in terms of Garankuwa types of investor, you have the services, you have warehousing, tombstone, tissue manufacturers, electrical appliance, furniture manufacturers, bed manufacturers, till recycling and automotive. And then in terms of your Garankuwa pipeline on investors, you have Bodirelo General, which is your granite, you have Heineken, which is liquor, you have Ribbon, which is utensils. So that is the value there in terms of the job to be created by Heineken and also the granite and then also utensils. The value of the investment and job to be created in Garankuwa, Chair. And then in terms of Garankuwa feeder areas, you've got the Garankuwa Industrial, you've got Garankuwa Central, you've got Mabopane, you've got Hebron, you've got Lepgat, Moletwane, you've got Gabalatane, you've got Winterfell, Jericho, and Soshanguve. You can see these are the feeder areas basically that are in Gauteng, Chair. So you can see that actually we've got this cross-border properties that belong to the Northwest Development Corporation, but they're actually in Gauteng. But there's been those engagements that have been happening regarding this. And then you are saying that Garankuwa is around, those are the challenges that you are facing in Garankuwa, surrounded by informal settlements with high unemployment rate, continuous load shedding, resulting in most of the investors terminating vacant premises, high rate of vandalism despite positive role played by the security service providers. And most of the sites have been vandalized, stolen to the ground level. And all the assets installed during phase 1 of the project of this area was stolen, vandalized during the day of its launch, except for the control room and few CCTV cameras, deteriorating in the state of property due to non-maintenance. Obviously, we had those challenges, even though on the day, basically, you can still say, Chair and honorable members, that there was basically no launch of that industrial park. And that is what is left of your Garankuwa in terms of what happened on the day that it was launched. And then management model that we'll be using is that there will be a need to pilot different approaches to the management of industrial parks, role for others and operators, exploration of hub-spoke model for the management of industrial parks where they are multi-sites for one industrial park with regards to incentives, harmonization of government model in area of DDM with similar IGR to lead to apply to sign lease tenant operation, lease end and turnover. That is in terms of the management model that we want to see there happening in those industrial parks, Chair. And then in terms of coordination in all spheres of government to ensure development and sustainability, we are saying that liaison with different municipalities to ensure service deliveries are attended to, participate in different forums to strengthen relationship between industrial, security, councillors, tribal, subs, and community forums, which we are already participating, Chair, in terms of your business forums and community forums. And also we're in full-time engagement with your ward councillors in those areas. Participate in industrial revitalization meetings, engage with local councillors in consumer education. That's what we are engaging with, Chair. And then in terms of opportunities, partnership with the DTIC on the new approaches to operate industrial park, e.g. eco-industrial and operated by UNIDO, collaboration with other stakeholders like IDC and DBS on infrastructure development in the industrial parks, including your infrastructure South Africa. Babelegi Industrial Park is currently exempted from load shedding because we did make an application to ESCOM, Chair and honorable members, that since Roslyn in Gauteng is exempted, can we please be exempted? So Babelegi Industrial Park is currently exempted from load shedding, Chair. Collaborating with private sector on the investment and attraction P on energy provision for service like gas provision and fiber rollout. Collaboration with industrial parks in other countries under the auspice of World Association of Export Processing Zones and SEZ in Dubai. The future plans are to improve security, which is a critical point, to secure all the industrial parks with a perimeter security, which is not easy to be destroyed. Installation of CCTV cameras with 24-hour monitoring system, to conduct preventive maintenance to attract investors, possible disposal of non-performing assets and those that are not strategically located, installation of smart metering on electricity and water supply that has already unfolded, and also in terms of security 24 hours, we are talking about issues of including your drone technology and those kind of things. And then we also need that Garankuwa also to be excluded. So the fair, in terms of any concession offered to investors, it's a fair rental rate which is affordable to our SMMEs, moratorium on rental start dates, reduced escalation rates, open negotiation of settlement offers on outstanding areas. In terms of land, Chair, now I'm going to talk about the business case for Janala SEZ. We've got 1,057 hectares of land secured from Moses Kotane municipality over a 50-year period. And we are currently paying that land lease rate at 50,000 per month, increasing annually as per CPI rate. And I think that started last year in October. That's the land that we secured for the SEZ that is supposed to be designated. The technical studies that have been completed are your environmental and water studies, infrastructure master planning, financial modeling, business case plan, and your business case. The legal compliance, which we have, the environmental authorization, we don't have the township establishment approval from the municipality, but we've already registered the SEZ company, Chair. And in terms of SEZ overview on investment paper, we have investment project of about 14 with an investment value of 13.5 billion, which will be your construction jobs and construction jobs rising to 3.5, and permanent jobs at 1.4, and jobs through infrastructure project will be 7.5, and total of number of direct jobs will be 12,000. And the sectors that are covered there, it's food processing, it's medical herbs, it's petrochemical, solar energy, hydrogen, metal fabrication, smelters, mining equipment, mineral processing, and chemicals. And the following are the outstanding tasks before the application for this can be submitted to the DTIC. The provincial government to allocate bulk infrastructure budget for the SEZ. So what we need, Chair, over the next 5 years to do the SEZ, we need 2.2 billion for the SEZ, but in phases, meaning that in year 1, we need 450 million, in year 2, 500 million, in year 3, 485 million, in year 4, 271, and in year 5, 500 million. So then that's what we need from the provincial government to allocate bulk infrastructure for the SEZ at the 2.2 billion over the next 5 years, so that the SEZ can start operating and running. Like I've already indicated, the township establishment and commitment for bulk infrastructure are the two things that are outstanding for the submission of the SEZ. Moses Kodan is finalizing the process of township establishment. The municipality was delayed by SNR request an additional traffic impact study. However, this has just been completed. The Northwest Department of Economic Development and Tourism to finalize and agree with the DTIC on the governance arrangement for the Bojanala SEZ. So, in context, Chair, there are two things that we need to do so that we can submit for designation. Is the issue of commitment of bulk infrastructure from the provincial government of the Northwest, and also finalization of the township establishment application approval. The issue of the governance structure is not a prerequisite for applying for designation, but it's something that the Economic Development Department and DTIC and the SEZ must agree, because obviously there are those proposals that are made by the DTIC in terms of governance arrangement. So they need to agree in terms of how best can we have, because there have been challenges in other SEZs regarding the issue of governance. In terms of governance, I mean in terms of your board members that will serve in the SEZ. So the DTIC has got a proposal that they are making in terms of that they can make this SEZ workable, because of, in their experience, they've seen that it didn't work in other SEZ if they leave it to anyone to do as they want. So they are making proposals. So what we are saying is that there's going to be that meeting between the Economic Development DTIC so that they can agree on governance issues. But of critical is township establishment approval and also budget infrastructure commitment so that we can apply for designation, Chair. And then so now I'm going to get into BRICS Summit, Chair. We were in BRICS, I think about 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks, when South Africa was hosting the 15th BRICS Summit. In order to address the rising unemployment and poverty inequality in the province needs to scale up its effort to attract local and foreign direct investment. The province planned to leverage the present local and foreign investors at BRICS, and thus initiated the Northwest BRICS Investment Forum that we held in Sandton, Chair, on the 22nd of August. And during the event, the Northwest Provincial Government presented diverse investment opportunity and engaged with investors to identify investment leads and commitment. And then a follow-up Premier's Investment Dinner is planned for the 15th of September, with the intention of signing up agreements with investors who are ready to do so on that particular day. That is what we have done. At BRICS, we're introducing the opportunity that you can invest in the Northwest. We got some investors, but on the 15th, we will be finalizing that. Additional measures will be implemented to follow up on some of the foreign investors who may not be able to make it to the Premier's Investment Dinner, and also so that we can deal with that. And then in terms of addressing the energy challenges, the province has taken a decision to address the issue of challenges, and they've set aside a budget to address so that we can deal with the issue of solar manufacturing, and also so that how can we deal with the energy poverty in the province so that we can deal with the challenges of load shedding. So we are busy also with that, Chair. And I want to thank you, Chair, for that, and then I'll hand over to you and to your members. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mofokwane. Members, there we have the presentation from the Northwest Development Corporation. I will now open for discussion and interaction with the presentation. I'll take hands. Sorry, I'm just taking hands. Honorable Mbuyani, then Dr. Ntwane, Honorable Nhloniana. In that order, Honorable Thring.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think I want to start off with just perhaps two questions first, and then a comment thereafter. My first question is just to get an understanding as to when did the refurbishment of the 3 industrial parks, Babelegi, Garankuwa, and the Mogwase Industrial Park, when did it actually start? My second question is, this was an investment in terms of upgrading of these particular parks or refurbishment. What was the total amount that was invested by the Department of Trade and Industry for the refurbishment of the park? So 2 questions. When did it start? What is the total amount invested for the refurbishment? Chair, I think then to go to my comment, I'm really appalled, Chair, and you very seldom hear me saying and using words like that, but I cannot find any other word, and possibly could find stronger words, but I am appalled that those responsible for the refurbishment did not foresee the vandalism and looting of the parks as a possibility, and for these industrial parks to actually be properly protected. In my view, Chair, this is a dereliction of duty. It is absolutely irresponsible and damning, and in my view, those responsible for overseeing the parks are actually responsible for fruitless and wasteful expenditure. It was mentioned that we are now looking at procuring the services of security companies, but it's a little too late. You've got kilometers of clear view fencing that has been stolen. At what cost? You've got vandalism that has taken place with regards to the electricity to those parks. At what cost? You've got the security guard houses that have essentially been stripped bare. At what cost? And so, Chair, certainly the horse has already bolted here, and this should have been a part of the plan when the refurbishment was actually taking place. I think it was for Garankuwa, it was said that on the day of the launch, the vandalism of the infrastructure actually took place, or after the launch. And if these launches took place on the same day, one could say, okay, but if the launches were actually on different dates, surely one would have learned from the others that you protect. If it was the third one, you ensure that you're actually protecting this particular park, because we've learned from the other 1 or 2 of the vandalism that actually took place. And so, Chair, the ACDP calls for consequence management to follow. We believe that this is a slap in the face of the unemployed and a deterrent to industrial and economic growth as one of the visions of the president of the country, and certainly also the committee that we sit on. This is a deterrent to industrialization of our nation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Thring. Honourable Bergman.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Thring has taken a lot of what I was going to say in terms of the security, because I must admit that the Northwest has always been a major interest to me in terms of investment. I've always believed that with its access to labour and with all its minerals and its resources in terms of agriculture, that this is the one province that should be able to show the rest of the country what rural can do in terms of bringing from its rawest resources into manufacturing. So when we went today, I saw that we were going to get an industrial report. I thought, yay, we're going to finally see some progress and see how we, see where we're going to see from minerals into manufacturing and to see the success stories. But if you cannot even protect the very structure that's going to ensure that we can protect our entrepreneurs and protect our business and sources of income with the basics. And this is exactly what Honourable Thring was saying, is that, just insurance and security, to know that this is what's going to happen when you're in a rural area and you know that there's security issues. And, it's like when those big corporates sponsor computers and they don't have security on the eve of their launch, and it's an open invitation for people to come and take those computers, because there's 20 or 30 of these computers, and they always get surprised when those computers disappear the night before. So for me, that's the one problem. The second problem is, we spoke about the airport early in the presentation. Unfortunately, that airport has just suffered a major fire. Now, the early reports of that fire, and I don't expect anyone to have any more information, but I'll be interested if they do. The earlier reports suggest that the firemen of Pilanesberg were away in Canada on a training exercise, so that there was a late response to the airport, and that we've lost the actual terminal building. I would be interested to know how that's going to affect business in terms of A, tourism, and B, our any progress in terms of any business done within the borders of the Northwest. I don't know how many businessmen fly in or fly out from Pilanesberg itself. And then, Chair, I will leave it at that. Thank you. Sorry, one more question is, in terms of government legislation or what government has said, does the MEC believe that there's anything that we could be saying or doing that could assist them in growing their resources better, in growing, like, let's say, getting agricultural minerals mined better or quicker and brought to the market quicker or better? Thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable Monakedi.
Chairperson, thank you very much. And thanks for the presentation as done by the CEO, and also the remarks that the MEC made to put the presentation in context. My first question is with regard to the NWDC itself, regarding vacant position. For instance, the CEO here, when he was presenting, it has been indicated that he's actually acting CEO. So if it can be clarified as to when is the position going to be filled? Is the CEO's position the only one that is vacant? If not, when are the other positions going to be filled? And also, the NWDC is listed as a Schedule 3D entity in terms of the PFMA, which means it's supposed to be self-sustaining. I just want to check as to whether are they able to achieve that, and if not, what are the challenges? And I think in terms of, I think it's Babelegi, there is an indication that they are potential investors. I think that was after the implementation of phase 2 revitalization program. I want to establish the level of certainty regarding those potential investors. And regarding challenges of geotech report that was not done before the, I think some of the work, I think they had to build some warehouses or some buildings there. So the issue of the geotech report that was not done, the issue of vandalism, which is also because there was no security in place. All these things, I think, as one of my colleagues has indicated, indicates that there was actually a serious dereliction of duty. So my interest is, has there been any consequence management? Because some of these things should have been foreseen. For instance, you can't just proceed to build without first making sure that there is geotech report in place. And you can't just start installing expensive equipment and other building materials, putting them on site without making sure that those are secured, meaning someone did not do his or her work. So the issue of consequence management, has it been done? And regarding electricity challenges, I think in one of the parks, I'm not sure if it is Babelegi, it looks like there has not been any connection as far as electricity is concerned in one of those parks. I just want to understand as to whether that has been resolved, or is there still a challenge? I know that going forward, I think in terms of intervention, talking of renewable energy, solar, and what have you. But I just want to understand where there has been that, what do you call challenge as far as ESCOM is concerned. Are there any engagement? Is the matter being resolved? Is it in the process of being resolved or what? And I think there was that issue of the CCTV cameras not being installed due to a high level of vandalism. Is that still the case? Or have these cameras now been installed? Yeah, I think those will be my questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Malamacha.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me take this opportunity and welcome the presentation. Chair, it's work in progress. Sometimes we forget that we are working, then we sometimes let other things happen, and it's not good to the communities. Now, I'm saying this because I'm in Western Cape, where I am. I never thought there would be that kind of negating to engage the community, where you find that at the end of the day, it strikes throughout. Mafugwan, acting CEO, just clarity, man. After realizing that there's this viral vandalism, not taking care of assets that belongs to the community, what have you done in a form of trying to engage the feeder stakeholders, community, and everybody who's involved to try and let them have love of their assets, so that at the end of the day, they assist to curb this crime? Because normally the public awareness, the community education around the assets does help, because as a country, one way or another, we can't keep on relying on foreign investment investors. We must at some stage think of asset-based community development, where the community learn to understand and respect what is theirs, because through their own assets that include the mineral salt, they can be able to create jobs and sustainable jobs as opposed to foreign-based investment, because at any given time they can go. I'm saying CEO, when we deal with that, let's try to really clarify me on that. Chairperson, the other aspect that I noticed, which does not go well with me, through the pictures of their own report, I'm very worried about the maintenance of these industrial parks. As to shady as they are, how will they assist to attract investors? Is there a plan that you are having in place so that at the end of the day, we know that the maintenance that talks to the cleanness of the area will be able to assist us? There was this issue of the Socioloza cement, and I see there's an issue of the land. How far are you winning in terms of completing those issues which were outstanding, so that we know that you don't have a problem of land and we want to see it kickstarting and working? Chairperson, allow me to pause there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mbuyani.
Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. Chair, let me welcome the honest, comprehensive presentation by the department. They reported what is transpiring, and maybe they're looking forward for suggestion, solution, and input from the committee and the department. Chairperson, one, maybe let me check the clarity on the management model of the industrial parks, because I heard in the presentation they spoke of the management model. How are they going to manage it moving forward? Hence, we have seen currently that the management model is not working because there's vandalism. After its inception, then there's vandalism. It shows that at some stage, education and awareness of the rural community around those parks was not properly conducted, if not. And therefore, what is it that they are doing moving forward? Because really the nearby rural communities need to be educated, because this thing is it's for government and the government of the people, and the people must feel to be owning this program. So I think somehow in the education and awareness, the department and the entity, they need to intensify. In terms of security, those rural masses, they will secure this place themselves if they are well taken care of in terms of beneficiation, job creation, and also given the ownership of that space. Chairperson, there are some outstanding tasks. I don't know where are they now. Can we just get a clarity? What are those outstanding tasks, and how are we going to assist as a committee moving forward? The other issue is the issue because there's load shedding and business cannot run with load shedding. What is it that they have planned in terms of the solar energy power generation, so that they keep installing there in the process? Chair, I'm just looking at the collaboration with tertiary institutions such as university and TVET. What is the program there? Do you have any program that talks to that collaboration? Also, Chair, this one goes to the DTIC, the PMU interventions, and also cooperation with the Northwest Development Corporation. Can we get clarity from the DTIC PMU what is transpiring in Northwest, and what is it that they are cooperating with? Around looking at other SEZ and industrial parks, they are functional. Is it because the urban areas? Or what about the 6 provinces which are still South Africans, but they are located at rural areas? is the model that they're using at the urban areas not functional or not user-friendly to the rural areas? Can we just get that so that we get the gist of the management model of the DTIC PMU and the industrial park vis-a-vis the one at rural areas? And also, Chair, maybe the intergovernmental relations on the cross-border, because we know that some industrial park, they're on the cross-border with other provinces and so forth. I just want to check the intergovernmental relationship, how they are working together. And also, Chair, I think we need to indicate that we had planned an oversight program for the committee to go to Northwest in terms last quarter, and all this thing has happened now. We definitely need to take a decision as a committee. When are we going there? Because we must go down to the masses. We must go and see what is happening there as it was planned initially. Chairperson, I will pause there for now, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Dr. Ntwani.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the Northwest Development Corporation for the presentation. It's welcomed. Chair, I want to commend the initiative of the Northwest Development Corporation with DTIC to have the industrial parks revitalized in light of the fact that we are experiencing capital flight from the traditional creators of economic growth in the country. That the initiative is taken to refurbish properties that would otherwise would have been relegated and left to ruin. We appreciated that you are proactive and are considering the well-being of the Northwest Province and the country's economy. So government, through the Industrial Park Revitalization Program, invested substantial amounts to lever industrial development and to create employment. So in this, I've realized that property maintenance and security of the revitalized parks are across the board. I've picked this up through the report that you've given us. So my questions to you are, what additional plans do you have in place to protect or secure the industrial parks? And of the businesses in those parks, how many of them are Black South African owned? And is there any linkage between the other programs of the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, for instance, with localization and the Black Industrial Program? And in securing your properties, have you considered deploying new techniques of enhancing security? And then, Chair, in commenting with regard to the late geotech report, indeed, consequence management must take place, but we are sitting now with the chicken that has hatched already. So I've heard in your presentation, you highlighted that you had interactions with the BRICS. You had interactions at the BRICS Summit. So I know that in terms of China, for instance, they built a bridge 55 kilometers long across the sea from Hong Kong to Macau Bridge. So my advice to you is, while you're interacting with regard to BRICS, find out from China if they can assist you in securing your properties where the river is currently encroaching, in order for you to be able to utilize those buildings and not to have it go to ruin. Thank you, Chair. That is my comment today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Mhloniana.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, let us start by give appreciation to the presentation. Truly, it was honest, but it was also quite depressing because we were so excited when we knew that we were going to get a presentation that was going to give us a progress report, but instead, we then got so many problems that have happened. My questions, Chair, are not many. I just want to agree with what my colleagues have said, like how Honorable Tring have expressed his disappointment on the issue of the vandalism. So my question in that issue is that I just want to know if they can be able to give us the total cost of the losses that have happened due to vandalism, like a number, so that by the time we leave here today, we're able to know that this is actually the loss that we have gained. And then secondly, I also just want to be straightforward and ask, has anybody been fired or will anybody be fired for such stupidity? Because honestly speaking, you will not have a guard house being vandalized if the guards were in the house. So it's such like management 101. I don't understand at this type of level in governance, how can somebody make such a mistake? So, and again, Chair, I want to know, because trust is something else now these days. Do they have any pictures that they can give to us, even later on, that they can give to us regarding because we can see here in the presentation, they've given us pictures due to vandalism, but can they give us pictures where the building and the fence and everything was actually complete and put there, so that we can satisfy ourselves that actually all these things were actually there, even before they come and give us a report of vandalism? And then on the issue, Chair, that they spoke about on their future plans, Dr. I've touched on it as well. I just wanted to understand their BRICS resolutions, as they spoke about, they will have a dinner on the 15th of September. I just want to understand, they think the investment that will come, how much would it be in monetary value? If maybe they can give us that, they think this could be the amount of investment that they think we can gain from their BRICS resolutions. And then they also touched, Chair, on the possible disposal of non-performing assets and those that are not strategically located. Maybe they can take our committee into confidence on which assets may those be, so that we don't get a shock of our life. Maybe next time they come and report, they can just give us an example of the few which they feel like they are non-performing assets. And then, Chair, on page 40, as they spoke about opportunities, the industrial park security was improved and vandalism was reduced. So my question there was, has it been totally eradicated, or are we still, when they say reduced, does that mean that we still have an issue of vandalism? And if we still have the issue of vandalism, what exactly are they going to do about it to make sure that this issue ends? And lastly, Chair, on page 38, this on management model, they just say there was no management model. I don't know if maybe this is how they've designed that there should not be a management model, or is again carelessness. Maybe can they take us into confidence about the issue of management model? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable McPherson.
Sorry, can you hear me, Chair?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, sorry. I was just having a trouble with my device there. I just want to maybe just touch on industrial parks and how they started and why they started in South Africa. Industrial parks started under the former dispensation in an attempt to locate industry in what was then the former homelands to try and create jobs of some sort there on the basis of discounted labor, and to create some sort of industrial footprint in those homelands. And that's essentially, rightly or wrongly, why they worked or why they did well, was because there were concessions made in those homes.
Honorable McPherson, are you muted? I think he must be having network challenges. Let us just give him a minute.
Rail. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, but we lost you there. So when you just start from your point on concessions.
Yes, okay. So the essentially the only reason why industrial parks worked in former homelands, is because of the concessions that were made by them, either through discounted labor or through concessions around utilities like electricity and water and so on and so forth. Fast forward to today, many of those industrial parks are actually are battling to be relevant because they have no strategic advantage, because there are no concessions on labor, there are no concessions on utilities. So the economic case for them is not really made known. What the department and what provincial governments try to do after throwing hundreds of millions, the premise was that, well, if we upgrade the services and we fix the fences, then businesses are going to come and invest. And we have found that is completely not true now. We can now say categorically, after a number of years, that this is a failed project, nationally speaking, that has cost the taxpayer more than R1 billion now, and there's very little to show for it. So I'd like to know what concessions exist for businesses to come and invest there, number one. If none do exist, what then is the business case for anyone to come and invest in the industrial park? 3, will the provincial government or local governments be making concessions available for businesses to come and invest there? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I now hand back to, I think, the department, the MEC, and the acting CEO? I think let's start with the acting CEO. I'm sure you've heard the dismay in the honourable members' inputs here. I think we need to be very clear on the way forward. Acting CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think we did. We welcome the inputs and comments of the members and the honourable members, and we really appreciate that. It can only make us better, Chair, to become a better in terms of these industrial parks. Even the question, they will actually assist in making the industrial parks to work in a manner that it will benefit the people of Northwest and subsequently the country. In terms of the issues of the concessions, the department, the HOD will respond in terms of those investments that are coming. What are we going to be doing regarding the new investment? And then in terms of the concession that we are proposing, obviously we spoke about the reduced escalation in terms of rates, open negotiations on offers, and also on the issue of fair rental rates. Those are the concessions that we are considering for the new investment that we are mobilizing, Chair. And in terms of the issue of the industrial parks, the concession by homelands, and other things, I think the member there was making a comment which we appreciate, and it's something that we'll go and look into. But just to make a comment there, Chair, is that even when the Israelites were taken out of Egypt, they still felt like they needed to go back to Egypt. So, but the issue that the concern was them to go to the promised land, but we can't go back to Egypt because there's going to be no benefit to any one of us. We are going to the promised land, and then we're going to build the province that we want while we are learning from the past administrations and everything. And in terms of the issues of the management model that we are going to have, in terms of that, we are saying that we need to pilot the approach to the management of industrial parks. And obviously, we will have that engagement with the DTIC in terms of how best can these industrial parks be managed and how best they can be secured. And we are saying that in terms of that harmonization of the governance model in the era of DTM and seamless IGR frameworks, the multi-site of those industrial sites and exploration of a HubSpot model for management of industrial parks, the DTIC will be in engagement with them and they will assist us with that. And in terms of whether the vandalism was reduced or not, Chair, what we are currently experiencing now is no longer vandalism, because since 2021, when this thing, the spike in vandalism was there, we increased security by having roving vehicles patrolling for 24 hours in our properties, mainly in Babelegi, Garankuwa, and Bodirelo. So there isn't really, when we are saying it's reduced, we are saying that it's reduced, it's no longer there. What we are having there now is mostly theft. But I can tell you that on a daily basis, I get reports of things that are discovered. I get reports of people arrested and stuff like that. If I were to submit those incident reports, it will be a lot for members to even read, because of, since we have improved in terms of that security, we don't have vandalism anymore. What we are having is still in there and there, but we are arresting those people on a daily basis. And in terms of the picture of the building completed works, what we will do, Chair, the member there asked for pictures of the completed work to see if indeed there was completed work. I think we'll have to find that member, and then we submit to the committee for their consideration, that this is what was done, and then this is what transpired. And in terms of disposal of assets that are non-performing and that are not strategically located, what we are saying is that we have made as the entity, we have made that proposal to the board, and obviously to subsequently go to the shareholder, that we have identified certain assets that we are saying that they are not strategically located and they are non-performing due to that issue of vandalism and stuff. So we are saying that maybe we need to dispose this asset. Maybe what we will do before we can do that disposal and everything, maybe the visit by the site, the visit by the portfolio committee, maybe it will be much important and sacrosanct for them to come and see before we can dispose those assets. And in terms of the investment value that we are looking for, I'll leave that to one of my colleagues in terms of the back banner of BRICS. I think that data will respond in terms of what we are looking for as the issue of investment value that we are looking for, that we have done in BRICS, and then we're also going to be doing in terms of on the 15th of September. And in terms of if anybody has been fired regarding consequence management, remember, Chair and honorable members, that this was DBSA was a PMU. They were the ones hiring service providers and doing all those things regarding the issues of PMU in terms of those industrial parks. So whether anybody has been fired or not, I mean, even now, even if you wanted to fire people, I'm sure those people are no longer either in the employ of the entity or anywhere. But it's something that we'll see which one is still, which one was there at that time and what happened. Maybe try to find out, do a fact-finding mission regarding that money that has happened. Obviously, DTIC will be involved and DBSA, because they were the project funders at DTIC and DBSA the project implementers. And also the issue of the total cost of vandalism in numbers in terms of how much have we lost. I think we will need a time there. Maybe by the time we leave here, Chair, would have given you those numbers in terms of the vandalism, how much has it really cost. And then we also acknowledge, Chair, that the presentation that we are making is an honest presentation, but there is progress in terms of what we are doing. That is why now we are busy ensuring that we are going to be going to an investment drive and ensure that we get all those things sorted, and then we secure our parks. And in terms of the BRICS engagement, Chair, we will take the members' advice regarding China, because of the Chinese are part of those investment delegations that we will be engaging with on alternative energy and on other investment that we want to have an agreement with the Chinese. And we'll find out definitely from them in terms of how best can they assist in securing our properties and refurbishment of our airports and some of our properties. I think I've already touched on the issue of consequence management, because all the members basically it's been repetitive in all the members. In terms of property maintenance of the parks, I would like to indicate here that in my own assessment, I don't think the parks from day one after they've been done, I don't think they've been maintained. There's just been malice and malfeasance in terms of maintenance of those parks. But since we've noticed that there's not been maintained, we've come up with a plan with the engagement with the department so that a budget can be provided so that the maintenance of the parks can start. And the other place that we are doing is with regard to the service providers that we have in the NTT, that they are assisting in the maintenance of those parks, so that we cannot have those theft. And because sometimes the lights are not working, it's dark, but we are trying to, as a provider, to ensure that some of these parks are maintained. And then the additional plan that we have to secure the parks is that we have hired more security in all our parks, including Bodirelo, Babelegi, and Garankuwa. And then we have 24-hour patrol vehicles. That's why I'm saying that on a daily basis, almost, Chair, we are making arrests in those industrial parks. So that's what we are doing. Also, we are going to be deploying this new technology in terms of drone security to ensure that we technologically secure our parks. And in terms of the black industrial, we do have black industrialists, like in the mining engineering and all. Most of those industries that you see there, most of them are black owned. And we do have them in the mining engineering and also in manufacturing. And most of them, you find that they are SA black. They SA own most of those investments that you see there. And then in terms of this, we will really appreciate the side visit by the portfolio committee, Chair. And then we are saying that the sooner it happens, the better. And so that the portfolio committee can feel and see what is happening on the ground on the issues of the industrial park. So that, because when you see the pictures, basically I can tell you, Chair, that you're not really seeing anything. You need to come to the ground level and be with us, and so that we can do that site visit. And in terms of intergovernmental relations across in terms of cross-border properties, there are continuous engagement between the Northwest Provincial Government and Gauteng regarding those cross-border properties in terms of how best they can be managed, whether they are transferred to Gauteng at what cost, or whether they remain in the Northwest and they're maintaining Gauteng. So we are busy with engagement with the department there in Gauteng and ourselves regarding that. And then in terms of the DTIC cooperation and model of management of the PMU, I think the DTIC is in the meeting. They will be able to assist, but I can tell you, Chair, that we have a good relationship with regard to the DTIC in terms of the industrial parks. They always advise, we always have meetings with them in terms of these industrial parks and how best they can be managed and how best they can be secured. And also they're assisting us with the issues of the SEZ. And then in terms of collaboration with tertiary institutions, we have a good relationship with the Northwest University, where in which most of the things we are doing it with the Northwest University and trying to ensure that everything that we do, we coordinate with them, we collaborate with them. And in terms of the load shedding plans, Chair, like I've said, we have applied to ESCOM, and also Babelegi is also exempted from load shedding. And the provincial government has taken a decision to embark on the issues of alternative energy in the province. So those are the plans that we have regarding load shedding and energy shortage. In terms of Bojanala SEZ chair, I think I did mention in the presentation that the business case for Bojanala SEZ is complete. There are two things that we need for Bojanala SEZ so that we can be designated. It's commitment for back infrastructure for year one, and for year one, which is gonna cost around 2.2 billion in year 5, like I've already indicated. And it's also the issue of the township establishment that we need from Moses Kotane. Those are the two things that are remaining for us to submit for designation. But the DTIC is here. If there are any other thing that I'm leaving behind in terms of SEZ, they will respond. And also the MEC will also indicate what are the other issues that I'm leaving behind. And in terms of education and awareness, in terms of what are we doing, I think we'll agree with one of your members, Chair, to say that we haven't done much education and awareness in terms of the industrial parks. But what I can say to you is that we've been in constant engagement with the business forums in and around in all industrial parks. We are there at the ground with the community members. I myself, for one, have been having meetings with all the business forums, because you find that once you hire this kind of a security company, and then the other people who believe that the other company should have been hired, they're the ones basically vandalizing. But once we had those meetings with those business forums, we have seen the reduction of vandalism. We are using the word reduction deliberately because we don't want to say it's not there. But basically, in the last 2 years, we haven't really had vandalism. What we are having is mostly people stealing in our property, unless that we want to define that as vandalism. But we are saying that we need to do more regarding the education and awareness of our communities. Maybe have those community engagements directly, because we always have engagement with the ward councillors, the policing forums, and everyone in and around all those industrial parks. So we've got a very good footprint in those industrial parks. And I think I've already spoken about the issue of the management model of the park. And yes, Chair, we have to make an honest presentation, like the members have said, even though sometimes honesty can come to be your most demiseful thing, because of the more you become honest, the more you are opening yourself up. But I always say that you rather become honest in your operations rather than lie and then not get everything. So the more honest you become, the better. In terms of Shosholoza Cement, Chair, we are saying that we have secured an investment of Shosholoza Cement manufacturing, and the issue there is land. One of my colleagues, I think that data on the DTIC, will clarify the issue of Shosholoza in terms of where are we in terms of that issue of Shosholoza Cement, and why have those started, so that we don't lose that particular investment. And also they will clarify the issue of the plan there. I think I've also engaged on the issue of the viral vandalism in terms of what is happening, in terms of community awareness, pictures, and maintenance plan. I think I've engaged on that. And we agreed here that it's work in progress, and we'll be dealing with that. My colleague will respond on the issue of CCTV cameras installed or not. And then I think I've also engaged on the issue of electrical challenges, connection, and also engagement with ESCOM. I've dealt with the issue of vandalism on security issues, consequence management. I've dealt with that. And then also the issue of the geotech report that was not done. And then the indication of the value certainty of Babelegi regarding investment. Babelegi, Chair, it's an industrial area. And then we do have certainty that most of those investors will not leave, because we'll try by all means for them not to leave. In terms of 3D self-sustaining, whether we are self-sustaining or not, and what are the challenges, Chair, we need to be cognizant that NWDC as a state-owned company and as a 3D business and a provincial business enterprise was self-sustaining before, but it's still self-sustaining, but it's not necessarily sufficient. Why? Because it was merged with 2 other entities, which is MIDZ and also Invest Northwest, which were 3C companies. So the load became heavy. So those are the challenges that we are having. But continuous engagement with our mother department, DTIC, which is economic development, we are dealing with those issues of self-sustainability and ensure that we get back into being self-sustainable. And also that issue of wanting to dispose non-performing assets and non-strategically located assets, like your cross-border assets, That is where we want to ensure that we are able to maintain that and all that. And then the issue of the vacant position of the CEO and what are the other positions? We have the vacant in terms of the executive, we shall speak only on that. There's a vacant position of the CEO, which was advertised. It was shortlisted, and this month there's going to be interviews. And I've learned that from the MEC that from the 1st of November or December, we'll be having a substantive CEO. The shortlist has been done. So by the end of between November and December, we'll be having a substantive CEO. And then we have the position of chief audit executive that will be shortlisting, and also the issue of the executive trade and sector that will be shortlisting very soon, I think next week. And then also the position of the company secretary that is currently vacant that will be shortlisting also in next week. So those are the only executive positions that are vacant. The other executive positions, chair, they are all filled and they're substantive. So it's only the CEO, the chief audit executive, the executive trade and investment, and the company secretary. So we only have those 4 positions in terms of seniority that are vacant. And I've clarified the issue of the CEO and other issues. In terms of the security issues, there was a question the MEC, I think, was posed to the MEC, whether the MEC believes that the performance can be exemplary. Does the MEC believe that the portfolio committee, whether there's a need for the portfolio committee to assist? To answer that, not on behalf of the MEC will answer that, but I believe that there is a need for assistance regarding portfolio committee on some of the challenges that we need, but the MEC will deal with it because it was posed directly to the MEC. And in terms of those responsible for the refurbishment did not foresee, and whether it's been a dereliction of duty, why was it not procured and stuff like that. I think, Chair, when you obviously when you build a house, you know that it's gonna rain, and then you need to secure your house by building a perimeter wall and stuff like that. And like I'm saying to you, like failure to engage on those things of community awareness. But I can tell you some of this vandalism and theft are just efforts by some of the business forums that are not happy with the security camera that is hired there. But I can tell you that as the NWDC, we tried by all means every day that we secure these parks. And since 2021, we haven't really had much of that because we are trying every day to ensure that we secure the parks. I think that will be from my side, Chair. I will ask maybe the DTIC to answer in terms of their role, what they need to do. I'll get my colleague Nateta to issue on the investment bill that we are looking for regarding bricks. And then also Ndademokode to clarify the issue of the CCTV cameras and other things. So in that order, Chair, can I request with your indulgence that Ndadeta will answer the issue of the investment value that you are looking for? Ndademokode answer the issue of the CCTV cameras, and the DTIC also tell us about how much money was put for this project, because they were the funders and DBS was the implementer. In that order, Chair, from my side, I think I've tried to answer the questions as they were posed and the comment. And we really appreciate the comments, Chair. But we are saying that the promised land is where we are going, Chair. We can't look backwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tau.
Good morning, Chair, members and leadership of the province. There are just 2 issues I think I can talk to. One is the issue of Shosholoza Cement. Shosholoza Cement is looking for land where they can build their cement factory. So what we are discussing with them basically at the moment is the terms of the land lease. But obviously, an issue related to that is that we still need to provide bulk infrastructure to that land. So the finalization of bulk infrastructure will assist in unlocking that and many other investments. There are probably about 5 to 7 companies or investment projects in the SEZ that are ready once we roll out the bulk infrastructure. On the expected quantum of investment related to the BRICS initiative, at this stage, we can't be clear as to how much we will secure. We would be much better able to answer it after the 15th, because at least we are going to sign some agreements. But what I can inform the committee on is that we have about 6 key areas in which we are discussing investments through BRICS and other channels. We are looking at the 2 airports. At this stage, we are still early in that process to attract investors into those 2 airports. We are looking at Bodirelo SEZ. At this stage, we have about 13.5 billion worth of investment commitments. But obviously, our projections, it's to increase that by at least 5 billion every year. We are looking at smart cities and human settlement, which our colleagues in Housing Corporation and Department of Human Settlements are spearheading. Believe that indications are that in that area there is significant traction, but we'll confirm the numbers after the 15th. We are looking at tourism. In all the districts of the province, there are strategic assets, tourism assets that can pull in significant investment values. And I think in total, there would be at least more than 10. I'm just talking about those investment assets that are at least 100 million and above. So you can get a sense that if we indeed were able to get investors in all of those, what the quantums would be, but we are still in the process. And we're looking also at agriculture. Our colleagues in Department of Agriculture are spearheading that. We'll get confirmations after the 15th when we have signed all those. So that's just the sense that I can give. But finally say that the process of engaging with the leads that we have obtained during the BRICS Summit will continue beyond the 15th, and we will find ways of engaging investors that are outside the country, and we will do our best to ensure that we secure those as to whatever level, but we'll do the best we can to secure those investments. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Who's the next person? Mr. Mafokwane? Who's the next person to speak from the NWC?
It's myself, Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity. The CEO indicated that I should speak on the issue of the cameras. I can report as follows. The Babelegi Industrial Park, the cameras were not installed. It was due to the budgetary constraints, and it was deferred to the second phase. And with regards to the Garankuwa, the industrial parks, the cameras were installed. And then the Bodirelo Industrial Park cameras were supplied by the contractor that was appointed, but they were never installed. The cameras are safe, and we've kept them safe, and we are planning to install them ourselves as the NWDC. And the other point that the CE said I must also engage on is with regards to the community engagement. The CEO did indicate briefly that we are part of the broader stakeholder engagement and the tenant forum, industrialist, SAPS, where we have quarterly meetings regarding the safety of the park and how can we engage and integrate the community involvement. And it's represented also by the ward councillors responsible for the areas. So that's about it from my side. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, CE.
Thank you. Can we have the MEC? Any input, MEC?
Thank you very much, Chair. And let me also thank honorable members with the advices and also with possible solution that we might attempt to do as the province. Honorable Chair, I think the officials has already spoken to many issues, but I think let me also make some input on the issue that Ndadeta was speaking about from DTIC, that indeed the investment that we held during the BRICS Summit assisted us as a province, but we will be able to respond to the portfolio committee after the 15th, like he has already indicated, because by that time we won't have a talk show, but safe to say we will be able to talk to these investors in a signing of an MOU. When someone says this is what we are going to do for the province, we are going to sign. I must also indicate, Chair and honorable members, that we have also invited the mining houses. I have already indicated in my opening remark that this province is a mining province. And I think it is important to work and partner with these mining houses. We will be engaging with them on the same day, on the 15th, separately from the investment conference that we are going to have. And one of the things that we are going to engage on with them is that we need to collaborate in servicing our people. We also need to partner where possible with these mining houses. So we are expecting a positive response from these mining houses. From the BRICS Summit also, the investors that we also have a session with, I think the officials will be able also can tell how then did we manage to secure the investment. I think they're still trying to also close that, and then we will be able to also in due course to communicate with your good self. I think, Chair, the issue on the portfolio committee to assist the province, we really need it as the province. And let me maybe request your good self to say, I will request that the meeting that we will be having with the portfolio committee on the possible solutions that we might want to indicate, I will request that be a physical meeting so that each and every stakeholder must form part of that meeting, so that portfolio committee can also assist us in terms of how best can we service also our people. On the issue of the public participation, I must indicate, and the acting CEO has already indicated that we are we are going to attend it more by implementing the district development model, which in this case, we also need to engage with all the stakeholders, whoever is doing business around those areas, the communities that are affected around these areas. We will have to, so that the issue of the theft must be the issue of yesterday, the issue of the vandalism must be the issue of yesterday. We are going to make sure that we also make sure that we establish a strong team to can assist us in implementing the issue of the district development model. He has already spoken on the management model. I think those ones are for the officials to can assist. The issue of the vacant post of the CEO, Honorable Chair, we are now on the stage of interviewing the candidate that can be appointed as the CEO. So I think in due course, maybe by the end of October, November, we will be having that substantive CEO. I think those are the issues, Honorable Chair, Honorable members, and I think let me thank honorable members and all people who are in the meeting to say we are happy as was to can be given a chance to make the submission, and all those issues that were raised by the members. I think I will then sit with the officials, the issue of the business case. If need be, we need to rephrase it for the investment. We will have to do that. So we are going to have a session with them so that we can correct and make Northwest Province a better province. Thank you very much, Chairperson and honorable members.
Thank you, MEC. Can I hand over to the person leading the DTIC delegation?
Thanks, Chair. I think There was just one question concerning the amount that the DTI has spent so far insofar as the industrial park revitalization. I would ask Mr. Klassen to come in and respond to that. But I just wanted to maybe also add on the governance issues related to the proposed SEZs. Chair, this relates to what we always call the new approach. The presenter is indeed correct that it's based on the challenges that we are confronted with in many of the SEZs, but also the success that we achieved in targets, where 3 spheres of government were involved. And we are saying that in all the new SEZ, we need to have a clear roles and responsibilities of each sphere of government. The reason why TAZEF has succeeded, it was because it was governed and managed and planned and developed by all 3 spheres of government, where clear roles and responsibilities were outlined. The Tshwane municipality contributed land, they contributed money towards bulk infrastructure. Gauteng provincial government provided operating costs as well as the bulk infrastructure. And the DTI invested in top structures. And even at the board representatives, it reflected all the 3 spheres of government, including the ownership. And as the DTIC, that is what would want to see even in the proposed Bodirelo. And we're saying that the other issue that is quite important is the issue of governance around the industrial parks. I think part of the reasons why, I think as the CEO has outlined, the Babelegi and Garankuwa are struggling is because of the cross-border issues. And I think based in Gauteng, Honorable Chair, we can confirm that there is a strong appetite from investors to go and invest in the Babelegi industrial area, given the close proximity to the N1, the city, and so forth. But the challenge is the collapse in terms of infrastructure. We have been, as the DTIC, engaging with Gauteng and the city of Tshwane. They are more than willing to invest in terms of infrastructure. But the challenge is, of course, PFMA and Municipal Finance Management Act will not allow them to do that. Tshwane, as an example, at some point allocated money for industry, but they could not spend because otherwise they would invest in something that they do not own or control. So I think it's quite important that the issue of the governance arrangements on the industrial park is quickened, and we can say that I think it would work, given that it has been tested where all 3 spheres of government, if we involve the Northwest, it will include the other provincial governments. But we think that if we can involve all the critical stakeholders in these industrial parks, we can achieve maximum impact and create jobs and attract investment. But Chair, let me hand over to Mr. Klassen to respond to that question. We also have the Mr. Lionel October, who is the head of the PMU. He would also come in. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Klassen.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members and colleagues. There are a couple of things which were raised with regards to the industrial parks here that I would like to respond on. Also adding to what Mr. Molefane also was responding to. But firstly, the start of the revitalization of the parks that we spoke of was started around the financial year 2015-2016 and completed almost around 2022. Some of the phases, which were phase 2, for example, in the Babelegi Industrial Park. However, the one, of course, in Garankuwa, you would know that the first phase didn't take off to that satisfactory level. And subsequent to that, we've had all these other challenges around the park itself. I think the second question, which was asked, the total amount which was invested in all these 3 parks was approximately 181.63 million rands. With the Garankuwa only 24 million, which was spent there, and the other one, which was the Babelegi and Bodirelo. Babelegi 70.48 and 87.11 in the Bodirelo one. So that's the total amount which was spent on those parks was 181.63. Now, with regards to what we have done and working with all the provinces and all the parks, including the parks that we call cross-border. So what we have done working with National Treasury and together with our other stakeholders who have got sharing knowledge and also building the capacity with us of making sure that the compliance around the industrial parks is achieved towards sustainability, addressing many issues that I will just highlight that we are busy dealing with. But we have been working with National Treasury as our key partner using the lessons that they have been accumulating in terms of data and experience around the industrial spaces, parks as well that are based in the cities, metros, and in some of the municipalities, big municipalities. So we have managed to do some intensive and extensive studies unearthing the challenges with regards to performance and poor performance in some of these areas. Babelegi, we have done an extensive thing. We've also looked at what we call the cost of crime detail and what will be the possible solutions. I mean, the park itself is like divided because there's a portion of the park which is owned by private, and largely it is the private that drives the security systems there. And you'd find those disparities in many of the parks. It's the same practice that you'd also find around Garankuwa. But as the CEO was saying, there are efforts towards addressing these things as a collective. So there are these lessons that we have learned, involving as well in the case of the Temba, where Babelegi is located, the Commissioner of Police, and we have had a very good relationship through the Office of the Deputy Minister of Police, Honorable Mr. Moseja as well, Matale that is, sorry. He has also provided some support through the commissioners where the industrial parks are located, because we are trying to put that quite an active response as we look into smart ICT, base platforms, so we can now start to integrate that interface between the industrial parks and the broader security system security of the township itself, where these industrial parks are located. When then it comes to the issues of the governance, these so-called cross-border, which also include the other park, which is the Ekandasta. So we've got a joint strategy which we've been working together with Gauteng Department of Economic Development, together with its agencies, the GGDA and MEGA in case of Mpumalanga, and the one in Northwest Development Corporation as well, who have been involved together with the city of Tshwane. There is a signed IGR agreement in terms of them now collaborating and working together jointly, national, provincial, and the metros and the cities as well in that space. There is a commitment as well that has been signed. We are busy now with the case of Babelegi involving Northwest Development Corporation with regards to implementing what we call a new approach. I think Mautu also touched on that, which is the involvement of the three spheres of government, but also including the clusters and the forums that are located within the industrial parks themselves. So there is that collaboration, and there are these priority areas that we have listed that we are going to be now taking forward and addressing immediately. But governance and issues of land and debt that is owed by these industrial parks, we have been working with National Treasury, getting all the finances in terms of the debt that are owed and the land issues that are actually, hampering the development in or taking ownership of these parks to Gauteng, and making sure that we do that seamlessly whilst we consider the debt level. Part of the debt level is owed to DBSA. There's also a debt level that's owed to the municipalities or the city of Tshwane in particular. To that effect, I think even as of yesterday, we had a session with National Treasury where they are now revising, having had a meeting with DBSA on how the debt that's owed to DBSA can be offset in one way or the other. There is, of course, a model that they will be looking at, and they will report in due course so that we can have all the partners now agreeing to that model that will be proposed. But the elephant in the room, of course, is the agreeing on the transfer of liability, that is the debt, and also making sure that the receiving authority as well, likewise, understand and takes that responsibility going forward in terms of now governance of the park itself sustainably, so that we can have safety and all the other elements, and including the issue of creating sustainable attraction of business and retaining of those that are here and new ones as well. So now, whether it's the SPV, but there is a proposed model in a case in point in Ekandasta that has been signed, and there is now positive movement together with the province and the city of Tshwane as well, and the parties involved and ourselves as the DTIC towards moving to that model of registering an SPV. That would be the same as well in the case of Northwest, so that we can ultimately then address these challenges that have been stubborn in terms of transfer of these land assets in order for us to move forward with that. In terms of our new approach in terms of addressing the revitalization program, we have jointly adopted an approach of a precinct development. So within the park itself, we are going to zone the park into different precincts or zones, and not just put the fence that stretches a lot of kilometers, and which ultimately lends itself to vandalism and being broken into or being rather broken down by communities as they try to find their ways to where they stay. So those are kind of sensitivities we think they will be addressed if we are now approaching it through the zonal approach, where we will make sure that a cluster of companies, whether they operate as clusters or along certain value chain or sectors, they will be security fenced together, and proper facilities and all the security elements that will be put there and control there to companies will therefore be affected. The other, I think, approach that we have said is this one of the SPV model that we are adopting. And I think the land issue, like I've also mentioned, that it will therefore be addressed, especially in those areas where you find that there's a debt owed, whether to the agency or to the local municipality, through this approach. To that effect, we have been having a lot of workshops together with the provinces. We have another one again on the 19th of September, where we are going to be unpacking a joint working campaign, having realized that there are a number of common challenges that are associated with all of these parks. Now, what we have done, we are embarking on what we call getting the basics right for sustainable industrial parks. It's a campaign which we will be taking to all the agencies, the provinces. We have jointly agreed on this one as a technical working committee. The issues around water availability, we can make a number of examples around Garankuwa and many of the parks which are in Ekandasta. We find that wastewater treatment infrastructure has collapsed. It's not servicing business. Issues of maintenance of infrastructure, roads within the industrial parks. We can mention quite a number. We've got case studies such as Komani, which is the one which is in the Eastern Cape. These are examples of all these industrial parks that are facing these common challenges, even during the flooding and disaster, you find that the industrial parks themselves cannot withstand those kind of challenges. Some of the industrial parks, you find that they are fire, they're susceptible to fire. If the fire can break out, there would be a challenge in how to contain it, because some of them don't even have the fire brigade itself. There's issues around energy security, issues around environment and greening of the industrial spaces. Through that, we are now training all our industrial parks using what we call the eco-industrial master planning approach. This is just an approach that sensitizes all the industrial parks to the applications of the green economy, because some of them are going to be in the future be affected by green certification in terms of the products that they themselves will have to be producing. So we are trying to make sure that we cushion the SMMEs and many of the big companies that are inside the parks. We have, through one of the studies, we have also found that many of the SMMEs and the companies operating there, they are not so ready for what is about to happen in terms of the just transition from the normal, conventional way of their production system, but making sure that all their systems are resilient and also are sensitive to the type of energy and the through usage of their technology and various other instruments and tools. Waste management is also a factor, including crime and safety and security, like we have said. So those share would form, including, lastly, what we call the decarbonization strategy, making sure that there is alternative energy in these industrial spaces so that they don't start to be looked in a negative light by potential investors. But if they have a strategy for how they are greening their environment using solar and gas and other green technologies, that will be a place. So there is a concerted effort then to address those things. Lastly, let me address the issue which was raised by Honorable McPherson there. I think he touched on the issue of the questioning the business case of the modern day sort of industrial space. I'm saying modern because they are still there, these spaces. Now, these spaces of industrial parks, we've realized they play a very, very critical role. Let me give an example. Currently, consecutively, the Isithebe Industrial Parks employs about 15,000 people. And we are told, of course, I was not there in the time, but we're told that it used to employ more than 40,000 people at the time at its peak. But yes, the numbers have declined to 15,000. But it shows that they still play a very critical role. In Garankuwa, which is an area in Limpopo, one of the industrial sites, there's one company alone, it employs 4,000 people, and it's taking its goods it's exporting to about 23 countries, and it affects quite a large number of communities there. It's rural mostly, and the township itself of the Garankuwa. So I'm trying to illustrate that there is a strong business case why we want to make sure that there is a strong sustainability of these industrial parks, industrial spaces in these areas, which were, of course, pre 1994. Most of them were put there to cushion probably some sections, black in particular, people from going to other urbanized areas, but containing them there, of course, all the way these concessions that were put there. But they now play a very critical role, because you find that a number of people have somehow built very strong development around these areas, which of course now happen to be a large number of unemployed people sitting with a large percentage of youth that need for us to revitalize them, develop a new strategy. So through the precinct model, we are also going to be putting on each and every one of these industrial parks. We've developed what we call township enterprise and manufacturing hubs. So there will be a dedicated section that will then start to bring in and incubate value-adding SMMEs who will, of course, be aligned to the big players that you would find within the industrial spaces themselves. There are many of these large firms that are doing quite huge exports that are still located in the firms in Babelegi, in Isithebe, in Ekandasa, and we want to sustain that. So through this model, we will be developing special zonal areas which will be dedicated to the manufacturing and putting and giving the requisite infrastructure to those SMMEs that are otherwise located in their garages or in informal spaces and are doing quite good work. There's a number and a list of these that we are currently working on. And I think that would be my end and contribution, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think that brings us to the end of our deliberation on these industrial parks of the Northwest Province. I think, let me just, in closing off this agenda item, recognize the important role that industrial parks play in economic development, especially in township and rural areas. But the presentation and the report that we've got from the Development Corporation today does not tell a very good story, and we hear what committee members, PC members are saying, and I think together with ManCom, we will look at how we take this matter forward and try to meet the request for a physical visit. I think we have enough to underpin a request for the portfolio committee to go to the Northwest Province. And also, I must say that there seems to be a way forward that we've heard from the MEC and also the DTIC officials who spoke on right now, you know, that there is a way forward, but we didn't see that in the presentation. So let us look as ManCom and see how we take this matter forward. So I thank the MEC, the acting CEO and his team, and the department who was present in this meeting today. Thank you very much, and also to honourable members for their inputs and valuable contributions. Thank you. Honourable members, I think let's take the next agenda item. We ahead in our agenda by about an hour. So I think let us take the study tour report, the formal consideration of the study tour report, and then the first draft of the fourth quarter, and see whether we can conclude within the next hour. Mr. Hermans?
Thank you, Chairperson. Maybe you have, yeah, thanks. Chair, we will just, based on our, shall I proceed, Chair?
Yes, please proceed.
Chair, based on the discussions last week, members have indicated in broad terms some of the issues they would like to have considered as recommendations, and we prepared some of these recommendations. Chair, the MEC's hand is raised, Chair. Maybe you should take it before I proceed, Chair.
MEC? I think we will release the team that was part of the previous agenda item as we proceed with our meeting. MEC?
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. I was requesting that we be released.
Yes, thank you very much. My apologies for not making that clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, we have then prepared these things. Shall I take the members, the committee through the proposals, Chair, for consideration?
Yes, please do so.
Informed by its deliberations, the committee recommends that the House request that the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition should consider engaging with the relevant ministers to consider the development of a government-led vocational training strategy to ensure the supply of sector-specific skills that would promote and enhance its current industrialization drive. 2, engaging institutions of higher learning, both locally and internationally, in conjunction with relevant ministries, to encourage the establishment of satellite campuses and/or programs within special economic zones to support sector-specific skills development for each SEZ. 3, promote private-public partnerships in the ownership and/or management of SEZs and its enabling infrastructure, such as for water, energy, and waste management. Establishing good governance structures within SEZs to prevent corrupt activities and maladministration of SEZs, and to ensure effective implementation to improve investor confidence and attract investment. 5, establishing an intergovernmental coordinating body, including provincial and local representatives, reporting to him/her to monitor progress in the development of SEZs and unblock challenges as they may arise. Chair, those are the 5
members. Thank you. That is the recommendations on the study visit report to South Korea. Can we have a move and a seconder for the adoption of this report?
Mr. Mbuyani, Chair.
Honorable Mbuyani.
Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. I rise to propose that we adopt the report as the true reflection of our proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we have a seconder, Honorable Malamacha?
Thank you, Chair. Let me take this opportunity to rise and second Honorable Mbuyani on the proposal for adopting the report as it is. I fully agree it's the true reflection of the truth. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our next agenda item, Committee Secretary, is the first draft of the 4th quarter report of DTIC.
Yes, Chair, that's correct. We are asked just to be flighted, Chair. Chair, the report was distributed to members, Chair, and members were requested to submit some concluding.
Can we ask Honorable Monakedi to mute his device? Thank you.
To
proceed.
Submit, and we receive from the ANC these concluding remarks. Chair, shall I take the members through the concluding remarks?
Thank you very much. Proceed.
The committee welcomed the approach to mergers and to ensure job retention as far as possible, given the high level of unemployment in South Africa, as well as other socioeconomic factors being considered. The committee remained concerned about the prevalence of fronting and its negative impact on economic transformation. It encouraged the department and the BBBEE Commission to continue working with the relevant law enforcement authorities to strengthen the enforcement of the BBBEE Act in this regard. The committee welcomed the DTIC's initiatives to facilitate greater collaboration between the relevant educational institutions and industry to develop the necessary skills required by industry. The committee noted the Industrial Development Corporation was administering the Social Employment Fund, which creates part-time jobs, especially for graduates, to gain on-the-job training. It was of the view that such programs were critical to enable graduates to obtain much-needed work experience. The committee welcomed the beneficiation initiatives regarding batteries and platinum in terms of manufacturing of catalytic converters, However, it was of the view that more could be done as beneficiation might be the catalyst to address unemployment. The committee supports the government's position in terms of AGOA and seeks a speedy resolution of the negotiations to retain South Africa as a beneficiary. The committee welcomed the establishment of the new BRICS Development Bank and its focus on offering financial support for infrastructure projects. The committee supports South Africa's accession to the protocol to the treaty establishing the African Economic Community relating to free movement of persons, right of residence, and right of establishment, as it would facilitate greater and easier trade in terms of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Those are the proposals that we received for the committee's consideration, Chair, and thanks.
Thank you. So that's the first draft. What is the process going forward, Committee Secretary?
Chair, this is the first draft. If other members wish to submit additional comments, we can then await that, and tomorrow we finalize the report in that regard, Chair.
Thank you very much. So there's the call for you to add any inputs to that fourth quarter report, and then we will formally consider it tomorrow. Can we ask Honorable Monakedi, we see you under the trees, just to switch off your video and stay muted. Thank you. So that concludes our agenda for today. Can I just ask Committee Secretary that you just brief us on tomorrow's meeting?
Chair, based on our discussion, the program has been adjusted, and we will distribute the program with your permission to all members, Chair. Tomorrow we will get a briefing from SAMS and NRCS on their first quarter financial and non-financial performance reports, Chair. And also we will finalize the fourth quarter, formally adopt the fourth quarter report if other members have submitted the inputs, and that will be considered then as well, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes our meeting for today. Thank you very much, Portfolio Committee members and everyone else who is on the platform. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Colleagues.
Thank you,
Long
Chair.
live the chair. Long live the chair.
Thank you, Chair, and my apologies.